Arts and Entertainment Cable Network did a really good job of competing with the then new CBS Sunday morning program in the late 80s, early 90s. They had a show called Arts and Entertainment Revue, which later turned into our A+E Magazine. And the final host of it was Robert Klein. And in this episode, which aired on September 22nd, 1991, Joni Mitchell, who was out promoting her kind of comeback album, which didn't really catch on, gives a really good interview. So, Joni fans, this one's not up on YouTube. Doesn't even really show up on IMDb. Huh? What the heck?
Like Paul McCartney, our second guest also made her name in the 60s. Joni Mitchell was a musical flower child whose plaintive melodies captured the innocence and optimism of that period. Her song Woodstock essentially defined the generation, while both sides now established her as a poet guide through more personal affairs of the heart. Joni Mitchell has never stopped growing as an artist. Here she is now to tell us of her musical wanderings.
A singer is a navigator of a line. The voice is really like a quill. It has thick and thin. It has character, more so as you get older, unless you're very abusive in your teens. The trail my voice has left is let me start again. Some of the early pieces of music that I did, my voice was not yet equipped to sing. You take a song like Four Blues Tail and Sweet Fire. I don't think at the time that my voice had enough character to really bring the drama out of that piece. I thought as I wrote it really that it was a man's song to sing, that it needed more growl and gravel to really put across what the song meant. Years of smoking have thickened my vocal cords so that the line that my voice makes now is flawed. And in that way, it's more abstract. It has more grit to it. It's a much more modern line. It's a much more human line. And I think it has greater dramatic possibilities, so that I feel like the degeneration, in a way, of the line that my voice makes has given it the character that as a painter, I would have preferred it all the way along. For some, my voice had too much clarity in the beginning. I was imagining experience that lay beyond my experience, you know. So there were roles that I think you grow into. I think both sides now, the best performance that I ever heard of it was, what's the woman's name? Frank Sinatra is a tributary of hers. She was an American chansonnier, spent some time in Paris. Mabel Mercer. I heard Mabel Mercer do it in her 70s, and I remember thinking, you needed to be in your 70s and reflecting back, theatrically speaking, to do real justice to that song. But now they only block the sun, they rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. Woodstock was a turning point. What it meant to me, what it still means to me, we've got to get ourselves back to the garden. To me is the main thing. We were standing at the airport on a Sunday afternoon to go to Woodstock. Crosby, Stills, Nash, and David Geffen, and Elliot Robertson, and myself, when it was discovered that it was a mud bath there, difficult to get in, difficult to get out, and I had to do the cabbage show the following day. So it was deemed by David and Elliot, my agent and my manager, that I would stay behind. So I was one of the many who couldn't attend. And at that time, it was such an important event. There was a terrible sense of, not being able to go to the party, And I wrote most of the songs that night from the point of view of, I felt probably more truly into the spirit of the occasion than I would have had I gone. Had I gone, I would have been subjected to all of the backstage madness that surrounds these events, different spirit of competition, and, but being absent from that and looking at it with a kind of an overview, I wrote it more from the point of view of a hippie, say, than a performer in the festival. This was a risk I knew I was taking, that I collaborated with a giant in another idiom caused me to be excommunicated from pop music. Oh, she's not one of us anymore. She's one of theirs. Well, they didn't accept me either. So, my music was not jazz. The only thing at the time that I entered into the Mingus project, I had been playing with jazz musicians for one simple reason, that the open tunings on the guitar and the chords the voicings I use on the piano could not be played by the usual pop section in this city. The band that James Taylor used or that Carole King used at that time, they became more sophisticated as they went on, but at the time they couldn't comprehend the chords that I was using, and I didn't know what they were. I just played them by ear. They expressed how I felt. They were complex chords. Anyway, getting back to Mingus, Mingus learns that he's dying. He came up with an idea which was to be his last project. Well, when I first saw him, his back was to me in the chair. I did a small painting of it. And when he turned around, he had the most mischievous look on his face. And a good mischief, challenging, fun. I thought, oh, challenging, fun, this should be colorful. And we set about to try and figure out what themes he wanted on these pieces. And the melody that first caught my ear was one that became A Chair in the Sky. And that was the first one I asked him about. I said, what do you want this one, what do you want the text to be? And he said to me, well, that was about the things I'm going to miss. So I thought, well, what do you miss? Women, for sure. I have strange ideas, things that I want to use, because being a painter, I don't see music really as being notes. I'm interested in sounds, drama, tone poems, things that depict and paint and shade and illustrate emotionally, not just nice notes. See, I have 50 tunings that I work with in the guitar, and they are like similar to ragas, I guess, in that each one has a modality and a general spirit, and then there are a range of chords inside it. Some of the tunings, most of the chords are fairly murky in that they contain dissonances. I consider them to be modern neuroses, you know, a depiction of our psychic state. We are not living in a major minor world. We're not living in a Mondrian color scheme, you know, primary blue, yellow, red. You know, I don't know, speaking for myself, for some reason I chose for this album, I put the guitar into pretty much a sunny major chord and kind of left it there during the writing period. Just to come in from the thing is, you assimilate and absorb so many different kinds of music, and people always think my roots are in folk music. They're not. Marvin Gaye, who I adored and absorbed a lot of stuff, Billie Holiday, these are not the normal influences. Miles Davis, I learned a lot about singing from Miles. You know, no vibrato, the opposite of folk singing, no vibrato and waiting. Frank Sinatra, you know, is an influence. Tony Bennett is an influence, you know. It's just American music. You know, I hate to pigeonhole it.
The album Joni Mitchell mentioned a moment ago, by the way, is her 16th, called Night Ride Home.
Thank you for watching Cleveland Live Music. I can't play a lick. That's why I'm a taper. Thanks for watching the channel and making it grow. If you want to subscribe, that'd be appreciated. Patreon and GoFundMe would be appreciated. Maybe I could get guitar lessons.